Hey you, I'm celebrity menswear stylist Ashley Weston, and today I am joined by a very special guest, Romeo Lacoste.
Hi, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So Romeo is an incredible tattoo artist, which is why I wanted him on today's show. And you should also follow his YouTube channel. I'm a huge fan. You've actually tatted some of my favorite clients. So I'll link that in the description below for you to check out his channel. So today we want to go over some tips that you should consider before you get your first tattoo.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because
Important.
I feel like if you get a bad tattoo, it is so painful and expensive to get it removed.
That's right.
So we want to make sure for your first tattoo, you don't f it up.
That's right. And what I think people don't realize too is that a few simple tips will make a huge difference. So the tips that we're about to go through could really make a difference, make or break whether it's a good tattoo or a bad tattoo.
Yep, so let's get into it.
All right.
So I think that the first tip that everyone should definitely consider is to just really think it through. You know, so in terms of like design or placement, I'm sure there's other factors that you need to consider.
Yeah, so thinking, obviously this is the most important part, and I also think the first step of getting your first tattoo, right? So the first step is obviously knowing what you're gonna get. I think it's important that people actually sit on it and think about it. Maybe not rush it, you know, get drunk or do a dare with your friends, which I've heard of so many times and have never, ever, not one time resulted in a good idea. So thinking about your tattoo, you know, where you wanna get it, placement, in detail of what it is, and all those things are super, super important.
So I'm gonna do a little disclaimer because, you know, I'm sure the question's gonna be from one of you guys out there, well, Ashley, how many tattoos do you have? So
How many tattoos do you have?
I have one tattoo. I literally thought about it for 6 months, like probably for 6 months. You're gonna laugh. It is the tiniest little baby heart, and I thought I was being a rebel by getting it done. Like
such a rebel.
I'm trying to think where it is. It's like right in the middle of my, like right here. It's hidden, so no one sees it unless I have a tendency to go like this a lot or talk with my hands, and then it's a little peep.
It's not even in black ink, it's in red ink,
it's
right?
in red ink, yeah.
As discreet as possible, wow. So rebellious.
So that's why we have you on here, because obviously you can speak to tattoos.
I've got a handful here or there, you know?
Yeah, okay, so that's a good point. So definitely think it through, but don't overthink it too much.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot right now.
Oh no.
You said you thought about it for 6 months. Is that really the truth? Did you really think about it for 6 months?
No, it was a week.
It was a week? Yeah.
But I did talk to my mom about it.
So second tip in getting your first tattoo, once you've already figured out what you want, where you want to get it, the placement, now it's time to figure out what artist is gonna do it. Now this is super crucial because different artists usually specialize in different things. So it's very important to find the artist that matches the style of tattoo that you want to get. So for me, I specialize in like fine line and like very detailed small tattoos. So it would make sense for someone who wants to get that kind of a tattoo to come to me. But then again, if someone wants to get maybe a Japanese or a portrait or something like that, maybe they should go to someone who specializes in those kind of tattoos.
Where would you say are some of the best resources to go find an artist that fits whatever it is you want to get tatted? Do you think Instagram is like probably the best one, or is there other places? How would you research that?
Yeah, I think Instagram is really, really helpful, especially nowadays, because you can look at someone's portfolio and try to find, you know, something that's really close to what you want to get. So if you want to get a portrait, maybe find a guy who does similar portraits to what you have in mind, you know, or if you want to get like, you know, fine line tattoos, find an artist that does similar to what you want to get like that. Usually, you know, Instagram is good because you can see, you know, the reputation, you know, who they've tattooed, the reviews, things like that. So it's a pretty good source, I feel like nowadays, especially to find that perfect artist for whatever you want to get.
Very good tip. So obviously, once you know what you want to get and you found that artist, it must be really important to first at least meet with them and not just go right in and be like, this is what I want. You want to be able to get their input, I'm sure. Do you find that to be true?
I think it's very important to communicate with the artist on what you want to get. I know for me, I get a lot of email inquiries, so I can't meet with everyone in person beforehand, but I try to at least communicate via email back and forth and at least make sure that we're on the same page. And I think that's important. I mean, usually, you know, if you want to get a tattoo, you reach out to the artist, at least, you know, get a vibe and see if the artist is enjoying the idea and wanting to, you know, take on the project. That's almost just as important as the artist is going to be doing it.
It's very much actually like my job as a stylist with my clients. I meet with them first before I ever take on a new client, just to make sure that I understand their vision and it's something that I'm comfortable doing and I feel like we could have like a really good collaboration going so that we get the best possible outfit for whatever the event is. But I also know where, you know, if sometimes their style is something that's not my aesthetic, it's like, you know what, I really am not the person for you. I can't give you what you want. So like, and I'd rather tell them up front.
That's super important. So for me at my shop, you know, I have, you know, millions of followers on Instagram. People, you know, they come to me with a lot of ideas. A lot of times it's stuff that I don't normally do. But here at the shop, we have a lot of other artists who have different sort of specialties. So usually if it's something that I'm not super passionate about, I want to make sure they're going to get the best possible tattoo. So I usually redirect them to another artist that's their specialty to make sure that they get the best tattoo they could possibly get. So very, very important tip. And while we're at it, it's also really important to also trust the artist's opinion on your tattoo.
What do you mean? I can't just argue and be like, no, this is the way I want it.
I mean, you can, but no. So basically, you know, it's good to come to your tattoo artist, you know, with a vision. I usually tell people, you know, come to me with a reference photo, come to me with, you know, ideas, be as specific as you can. But it's also good to be open, you know, because if you're going to an artist because you like their work and you trust their work, you should also trust their expertise. I know for me, you know, even for me as a tattoo artist, when I get tattooed, if, you know, if the artist is telling me, you know, hey, I think we should try this or try that, even me, I still try to, you know, give them some freedom and let them, you know, come up with ideas as well, because collaborating is also trusting the artist and knowing that they know what's best.
Yes, but I will have to say, which will be our next tip, is really understand what you want. And if you feel like maybe the artist is leading you down a road that you're not comfortable with the final design, then speak up, because the only way your artist is going to even know like the only way that your artist is going to understand what you want is if you speak up and you say your dislikes or your likes. It's not going to hurt anyone's feelings. It's like my job too. I always tell my clients, you are not going to hurt my feeling if you do not like something, but you need to tell me so I understand it for the future thing or for the final look, so that we can collaborate and get the best possible look.
That's right. So kind of going a little bit more in depth in that, people have to keep, I think what people don't always realize and keep in mind is that sometimes, you know, when people are trying to explain their tattoo to their artist, it might sound different in your head. It might seem different in your head than how you're explaining it, right? So you might be explaining a tattoo a certain way, and then the artist is envisioning it completely different, and it has nothing to do with them not wanting to do what you want, but it might just be a communication, right?
Yep.
So you have to also remember that that's why reference photos are important, and that's why really being as descriptive as possible, because sometimes the artist just doesn't see it how you see it in your head, you know, so you have to be as communicative as possible. And yeah, and if it's just like you said, if it's not coming out the way you want and it's going in a direction that's definitely not what you want to get, speak up, let them know. And usually if the artist is a respectable and reputable artist, they'll listen, they'll want to give you what you want. They're not going to tell you like, oh no, you have to get this. So just speak up and let them know what's up, and usually they'll be understanding.
All right, so I know that we touched on this before, but I just want to reiterate this point. Don't be impulsive, especially for your first tattoo. You really need to think about it and make sure that a few months, a few years down the road, you're gonna want it. So,
that's true. So, you know, kind of going back on what we said before, a lot of people, you know, they get, you know, dares, they get bets. You know, it's like, hey, you know, I'm with my friends, let's all do this, it's gonna be fun. You know, really think about it. You know, you think in 5 years, 2 years down the road, are you gonna really want this tattoo? You know, it's just, you don't wanna be impulsive. You really wanna sit on it, make sure that it's something that, you know, I always tell people too, think about, you know, are your kids gonna approve? You know, is your future spouse gonna approve? Is it something your parents are gonna approve? You just wanna keep all those things in mind, because if it's something that maybe, you know, you'd be embarrassed to show your kids, or, you know, your future wife or husband, you know, maybe it's something you shouldn't be getting, you know, so.
Think about it.
Think about it.
So for this next point, it's about post-care. So when I first got my tattoo, my artist was super adamant that I follow a specific set of rules of things that I needed to do to take care of my tattoo. So how important is that?
It's actually really, really important. I think a lot of people don't realize that sometimes, you know, they leave the tattoo shop and they're like, all right, cool, my tattoo looks good. Now I'm gonna go, you know, jump in a lake. I'm gonna go get drunk with my friends on Hollywood Boulevard. I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go do that. People don't realize that getting a tattoo is only half of it. You know, the other half is the next 2-3 weeks as you're taking care of the tattoo. You don't want your tattoo to scab, you don't want it to scar, you don't want it to fade. And you know, and then a lot of the customers want to blame the artist afterwards, you know, because like, hey, my tattoo healed like this, you know. It's like, well, what did you do afterwards, you know? So following all the instructions. And another thing that's super important is a lot of artists have different aftercare instructions. So it's important to listen to the specific instructions of your artist. One thing that I've noticed as an expert in tattooing is different styles of tattoos sometimes have different aftercare instructions. So if you get like a portrait or something that has a lot of heavy color, your artist might tell you to take care of it a lot differently than maybe a line tattoo or something a little bit more simple. So you want to listen to the specific instructions that your artist gives you, because usually those are the instructions that's going to work the best for their style of tattooing.
All right, so next tip, we've already said this, do not go under the influence.
That's right.
No boozy brunch, none of that.
There you go. And there's multiple reasons for that. So one, going under the influence, obviously your judgment's impaired. So maybe you might go into the tattoo shop and leave, with a tattoo that the next day you might realize is not something that you wanted on you. So for one, maybe your judgment on what a tattoo is might not be super clear and crisp. That's important. Second of all, it thins your blood out. So, obviously I think a lot of people know this, but alcohol thins your blood. So when you're getting a tattoo, if you're heavily under the alcohol influence, your tattoo could bleed and then causing the tattoo to heal very poorly. So there's multiple reasons. There's a lot of reasons why getting drinking is a very bad idea. Highly recommend against it. If for people who are concerned more about the pain, you can definitely take some, over-the-counter, ibuprofen, Tylenol, things like this. There's also topical numbing creams that help a lot nowadays with, today's technology. There's plenty of different numbing creams you can apply on your tattoo. So there's definitely ways to kind of, minimize the pain without coming in just totally plastered.
And just going off of the last point, so maybe you're a little nervous, but it's really important that you relax and just enjoy the experience. So if you need maybe a friend for moral support, or a really good idea that you actually mentioned earlier was to actually bring a set of headphones to listen to music or watch something.
That's right. I feel with today's technology, it's very easy to sit, while you're getting a tattoo on your phone, watch Hulu, Netflix, you can listen to, your favorite music. And in my opinion, I think that's the best way to kind of relax you and get you to zone out, and not be paying attention. And it's also, you want to relax, you want to have a good time. You can bring a friend, but I always recommend no more than one friend, and because you don't want to distract the artist. I know for me, it's like, don't laugh, don't be jumping around. But yeah, it's good to have a friend here there to help you out,
And the last point is, well, before we get into that, if you've been enjoying this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, or subscribe to my channel, but also to his channel. Definitely check out his channel. I'll link it below. And hit that bell icon to be notified every time we upload a video. Okay, so the last and final point is, I'm gonna actually let you do it because you brought this point up and it's mind blown for this one.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people don't actually think about this, but one of the most important tips is to get tattooed on a full stomach. So before you get tattooed, you wanna make sure you eat a good meal. I recommend, fruits, protein. You wanna have a meal with actual substance. This will help you from getting lightheaded, passing out, and also will give you more strength and energy to help reduce the pain.
And there you go. So these are some crucial tips that you should consider before you get your first tattoo. Romeo, thank you so much for joining on this one. I'm gonna link his YouTube channel in the description below, so definitely be sure to check it out. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.